And some of those commitments might be to your children that you would make as you place that rock. Another promise might be to your caring for your wife, or maybe even some of the other relatives that are still with you. You would make a promise to take care of them, provide for them, and protect them. Among our Dene, we have places that we recognize belong to our particular clan or clan family. And overall, the whole land area that the Dene occupied was referred to as Denebakaya, which would mean the land beneath the feet of Dene. But those are the areas that I've kind of outlined as the greater portion of the southwest and the western part of the United States presently. But on these lands there are places that there are rock piles, not great big massive piles of rock, but some of them at the center of the pile would be maybe today might be 4 feet high. But many of them are now below the surface of the soil that has blown up and collected around them, and so they're hard to locate. But nonetheless, traditionally, our people used to have places where they would deposit some special type of rock. And I've got 3 pieces of rock here. This one here came from Stonehenge over in Great Britain, and around somewhere in that area. And then I have another one. This one here came from the place that Dene lived as they made their way coming west from the east. This is a rock that came from near one of those places where they remained for possibly 100 years. But nonetheless, this is a rock that came from that area. And then here's a rock here that I found one time that attracted me, and it has a personality all its own, and so I've kept it. But in times past, when our Dene would find a rock or have a special rock, they would take that rock to the place where there were all of the generations past would have taken a rock, a stone, and placed it on that pile. And that pile was actually, there's a lot of the languages of our Dene that talk about putting yourself in a position where you have made a commitment or a promise. And when you make that promise, you symbolize it by placing a rock on that pile of stones. And some of them are small pieces of rock, some of them are a little bit larger, and it is that some of them even contain pieces of turquoise and some of the precious minerals in that. But it is to our people a place where you would go and make some promises and make some commitments. And these promises and commitments might be to the departed loved ones, or even to the holy people, and promising of certain things. And in return, what you would expect as a Dene would be to say, I make this promise so that someday I can be with you. And that was the promise or commitment, and that a person would make when they placed a stone on those piles of rocks. And they are all over the place, and many Dene have lost the teaching. When in our language it would say such words as it would mean then you, like a rock, you would place that promise, and you would make that total commitment. And some of those commitments might be to your children that you would make as you place that rock. Another promise might be to your caring for your wife, or maybe even some of the other relatives that are still with you. You would make a promise to take care of them, provide for them, and protect them, and other things that you might want to commit as a promise to the living. And then to the holy people, you would possibly make other promises as well, and other commitments and that. But the end request that you have is, if I make this commitment, if I can live up to this commitment, to this promise, I want to be with you, a ago, or what is forever. And those are the things that we are told.